Hello, fellow heroes. I'm just here to talk to you today. I just wanted to try something different. I wanted to talk to you guys about just a few things that have been on my mind. Um, Currently, I'm in therapy, right? In therapy, my relationship with therapy is fairly new in that I'm actually doing it of my own volition, right? I've never been against therapy, and I recommend it for every person that needs it. But I personally have not wanted to take it. I've not wanted to use it for a very, very, very long time. And the reason for that is because me personally, I don't. How do you romanticize it? How do you put it nicely? I guess you could say I'm aware of what I personally can handle when it comes to taking on someone else's traumas and or problems. We're never really taking on another person's issues until we actually involve ourselves actively. But even so much as listening can sometimes be taxing, and I'm about to be 30 and I learned these things both the easy way and the hard way. My older brother used to tell me, "You can be the guy." No, let me not butcher it. My older brother used to say, "I can tell you, don't cross the street. You can see why you shouldn't cross that street. Or you could be the dumbass who crossed the street and shows everybody else that there was a lion, a random ass lion, just chilling there, waiting to maul your ass." The point being, there's three different ways to learn, and oh no, I deviated and I forgot where I was going. Damn it. No, I forgot where I was going with that. I spun off and I spun off and I spun off. So I'm gonna just go back to the therapy thing. Um, I didn't take it because I didn't want. I understood that if I don't always want to listen to somebody else's story, if I don't always want to listen to somebody else's complaining and or venting, and I don't want anyone who's watching this to take that the wrong way. I don't want you to think that I'm complaining about any of you. I'm not. I'm just saying I understand that there's limits that every person has to how much of somebody else's stories you can listen to, and how many different people who have different stories can talk to you about it and how much you can take on. So if you, pointing at myself, if I or you or anyone we both know or care about, people we don't know, if each of us can only listen to so many different stories and handle so many different vent sessions among friends, imagine how much that's not English. Imagine how much harder it must be for someone who gets paid to do it. And just because they're paid to do it doesn't mean that they are enjoying it. Although I would hope you enjoy it if you're in that career field. But then everybody can say that about everything else. I don't enjoy what I do. I'm just there because I get paid for it. So I guess my point is, just because the doctor gets paid, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's something that they're happy to do. They're probably just good at it. People are probably in their career field because they're good at what they do. So, all that tangenting aside, the biggest thing though that my therapist and I regularly talk about though is my relationship with change. It was, should I say poetic, that when I finally got to her, because it took a lot for me to get to her, we started talking about change right away because me going to speak with her in and of itself was a big one. And she helped me understand and acknowledge or make tangible that I don't like change. And she helped me figure out why, right? She helped me understand that my relationship with change is a negative one. It's a tumultuous one, if that's the word. Because a great deal of the big changes in my life have been painful ones. My first ever big change was my parents divorcing. And then just a whole series of changes that I wasn't ready for, one after the other, from then all the way up until adulthood, you know? So, like, when you have a relationship with change that most of the big ones don't feel good, change is always going to feel painful for you. Or at least that's what we think. That's what I think. That's what I have believed my whole life. So now, to get to the root of the matter, to get to what I really wanted to talk to you about is, it's interesting, right, that most everything we want in life, let's not even say we, we'll just focus on me, because it's my challenge. We all have the same challenge, but you'll understand in a minute. It's interesting how the things I love most, the things I want most, are hidden on the other side of change. Right? I, as I've said before, don't like what I do for work. I hate it. I hate that job. I'm not going to get into detail about the job itself or the company I work for, but let's just say I end up often doing something I don't like doing, that I'm not supposed to do, but I'm forced to do regularly, which is listen to people complain about things, when really my job is to just collect a single line of information from them. Maybe 3 lines. What's your name? What do you need? And have a nice day, or something like that. But usually to get to the what do you need, I have to listen to a whole bunch of other stuff. And I don't have to, but it's human nature to over-explain when it's something you're not comfortable with. And I sympathize with these people. I understand the situation. But I hope you guys are starting to catch on to the juxtaposition of all of these situations, right? Like I said, the thing that I hate so much, the thing that I don't like doing, is the reason I didn't want to go to a therapist, whose job it is to do the thing that I don't want to do. And they do it with a positive connotation and the techniques to circumvent the negativity that I feel doing the thing I don't want to do. It's crazy. So crazy. And so, what is it that I do want to do? Well, I want to make more videos for you guys, right? I've been on YouTube on and off since 2011. It is 2021. I've been doing this for 10 years. And I've done different kinds of videos, right? When I first started, I was making dumb ranting videos, right? Just complaining about anything. I was 19, had nothing to say. Nothing. And then later, I tried doing skits and just vlogs. And the vlogs weren't really vlogs, they were just nonsense, you know? And then my good friend Milky over on the Dropping Loads page, he really wanted me to continue because I kept taking big breaks, and he asked me to come over to his channel, and I started doing Wake Up, and I started doing WhatTheCon, and I fell deeply in love with WhatTheCon, because my biggest thing about going to cons is making friends to then work on projects with later in the future. And what's the easiest way to do that? Interview people. WhatTheCon was made for me, not literally. It was made for somebody else, and I took over, but that's not the point. I want to do videos. I love making videos. That's my thing. It's kind of hard. It's really hard. I don't even know the formula behind making successful videos. I've made a couple that have gone viral. I made the Life Behind Geek Eyes video. I made the White Privilege video. I made the Representation video, and all 3 of them did fairly well. But to have consistent success, as you can tell by my Resident Evil series, that some of you stopped watching, it's not always as clear cut. It's not always as concise. I don't even know how well this video is going to do, but this is just me talking to you. And between figuring out how I can make this a big thing for me, a regular thing, and then dealing with the thing that I really hate doing, I can do them simultaneously, but one is going to suffer or the other is going to suffer or both are going to suffer because you're not putting your best. You can't necessarily put your best into two things at once. Not everybody is the best at multitasking, right? Between ping-ponging between these two, you know what a regular thing that I am constantly exposed to is? Every time my job makes me feel negative, every time it makes me upset, every time I feel like I really would much rather be working on something like this, I swear to God, it's the weirdest thing. I just get hit with a post. Not someone DMing it to me. It just shows up on my Facebook feed or my Instagram feed or more bizarrely, randomly on Twitter. If I just happen to be on there, I almost never use my Twitter, but the posts, no matter how differently the words are, it always says the same message. Just go for it. Just go for it. Take the leap of faith. But like the world we're living in right now, it's not a realistic thing to do, is it? If you notice, the background, it's not the same as it was before. I'm not in that same apartment. I went from, by the grace of Bost, I went from a 1-1 to a 2-2. A 1-1 that I had no kind of influence on. It was relatively expensive, and I couldn't customize it. I couldn't do anything with it. A 2-2 where there's a blue wall, there's a gray wall, there's art. I did all of that. There's a purple wall over there. You'll see it later. My front hall is black. My bedroom I haven't painted yet. All of this is my doing. And also, I went from filming on a lounge chair. I am now on a big comfortable couch. And I did all of this. All of those things are reinforcements of the interesting subject matter we started with, not always being negative. What I'm learning and what I'm coming to accept is change for me has mostly been painful. But then again, change is always going to be painful. It's asking you to come out of your comfort zone and accept a new status quo. And it's not always going to be like that. That's the very nature of the beast. Growing pains, if you will. But it's not always going to be bad. This is a perfect example. So I guess what I'm really trying to get at is it's hard for me to pull the trigger on this, but I know a great deal of what's on the other side. I just don't know what all is on the other side, if that makes sense. That was terrible grammar. Basically, I've come to the realization, the recognition that my greater happiness is on the other side of the thing I hate, the thing I fear the most. To get to making videos on a regular basis, to playing games for you guys and making YouTube videos with interviews for you guys and ranting like I used to on a much more regular basis, and to be able to put all of my energy into it requires a big change, the thing that I don't like. And it's ironic because I'd be changing from something I hate doing to something I love doing. There's just so much uncertainty on the other side. So I guess to tie it all up in a big bow, this has just been my experience. This is just what I'm dealing with right now. Everybody's got their own challenges, and most of them involve some sort of change. It's on us to really sit down and think, is it worth it to sit still? Listen, man, I'm only 29. I'm barely figuring shit out. I'm barely making it. Tell you the truth, I have no fucking idea how I survived that 1 year at that other apartment. It was well outside of my financial reach, and I still did it. It's something that I'm proud of, but I don't want to do again. But I just wanted to share some of my ideas with you, my idea with you. These were just words. Thanks for listening.